23. Bhojo Johia Jatak. We are following Sameto, Selehi Salaikatho Seova Burwa Hojejo Yunjmanjwa Sarati, Thi. Moreover, once upon a time, the sage living in Jetavanarma, a certain monk who had reluctance, said this Jatak to Arabhe. On the last day, during the reign of a king named Brahmadatta in Varanasi, where Mahabodhi beings were born as the guardians of the Sandvas named Bhojajni. Those kings who were more noble than the rest of the Bhojajini caste lived as Magulars to the king of Varanasi. The horse hall where they live is covered with canopies and painted with white sand on the floor. Mahabosatana sits there under a heller umbrella and eats sweet meals and dwells in every seat in a noble manner. At that time, one of the 7 kings went to war with the king of Benares and took over the kingdom. They came to Sattha, accompanied by Setha, armed with Panchayodh, and took a large army of elephants, horses, chariots, etc., and surrounded the city and guarded it. The king of Benares gathered his ministers and told them what was to be done. Hearing this, the ministers said, O God, do not become the first. Do you have someone named Rotayana? Give them favors and send them away. If they are insufficient, then you measure more later. When the king heard that, he brought the king and said, Son, you will take our kingdom. 7 sons of the king took a great army and surrounded the kingdom to protect it. They wonder if they will dance with the 7 and make war. Hearing that, Rotayana said, Lord, when I hear that your wedding feast is acceptable to me, I will fight and win. The king heard that, and thinking that the destruction of my kingdom would not be tolerated, he took the desired people and a desired Saindhva and made enemies. The Saindhva of Ratune took his troops and went out from near to where the enemies were. Its ransacked after closing the door and making it hard, he dressed himself in armor, took the wedding sword, worshipped the god, and jumped out to fight. The Bodhi animals think that the people of the whole Dambadi, let alone one of these 7 kings, will come, but will it matter? He thought that it would be safe to kill them without killing them, and he said that the war would be left to me without killing the children of the king. That horseman, he bravely struck the moon horse in the middle of the enemy crowd like a lightning bolt, and broke the first fort without killing a single king. A large number of people gathered together to bring back the 7 kings after betraying them like this. Asu led the horse to the war. The horseman was struck by a sword from the hands of his enemies, and blood splattered from his body. He looked at the horseman with great fear and sorrow. Veda thinks that this horseman does not know my virtues. The 7th fortress is broken and the 7th king goes out. Another question is, the horseman is not rich enough to take the 7th king. This one will also die. The horse is also killed. The country will also be destroyed. The king will also be caught by enemies. Even so, the effort I made for the king is not visible. It is like drawing a line in the water. The great Bodhisattva, who knew the virtues of saliva, thought that no one but me would be able to take all the 7 kings and break the fortress. If this king had given me a lot of help to the beasts, kept me in the Magula's Thanantara and protected me with various nutrients, when I saw a war like this, the blood I would have shed would not be the blood that the king gave me, but the blood that I drank from the sweet drink of various flavors. Therefore, if I die faithfully giving the flesh and life that I have acquired because of the king in my body, I will get a cure in the hereafter. As a beast who loyally gave my life to his enemies for his own sake, he made enemies for me and gave his life for me, as if he thought that my king would not die. There is no other horse but me in the whole Dambadi to attack the battle, the cavalry, the seventh fort and its terrible enemies. Born in the Saindhava caste named Bhojajanya, there is no king but me. He said, take me, plant me, bind Sattaha, and send me to King Satwana. After listening to the sermons of the Bodhi animals, the horseman went near the Bodhi animals, mounted the horse, closed the wound, tied the medicine, put on the armor, mounted the horse as before, took the sword, took a large force, defeated the enemy, captured the animal king, and killed many of them and betrayed him to the group. King Satwana and the people of the party defeated the enemies and saw the Bodhisattvas and Samambha coming to the king's door. When the king heard that the Bodhisattva had eaten, he was shocked with great grief. The Bodhi animals said to their kings, O gods, these 7 kings swore not to die and said that the father would be friends and send them to their country. If you, Maharaja, are helping me, please do it for the tyrant and take care of it. The Bodhisattvas took off their armor and went to the afterlife after admonishing Pahavas to rule the kingdom with the Dasarya Dharma, not to commit suicide. The kings wept with great grief and were shaken, and the Bodhisattvas were sacrificed and cremated in great procession. As the Bodhisattvas said, the king kept his mind and gave the horseman many treasures, villages and positions, and he did not betray his friends and entered the Rakshasthana. Again heeding the advice of the Bodhisattvas, he brought the 7 kings who had betrayed him and did not kill them, bathed them and fed them, swore the 7 to be friends and sent them to their country. He was born in heaven. After the teacher delivered this sermon, Vadra monks, the great sages who were wise in the past did their own efforts worthy of efforts. Even after receiving such attacks, the determination did not change. Chatusatya said, why did you give up your efforts in this kind of Teryanika Sasana? At the end of Chatusatya, the resolute Mahana was in Ahatphala. The Lord Buddha finished this Bhojajana Jatak by combining the preliminaries. At that time, Ananda was established as the king. Shariputra sat down on the horse. He said to himself that if Bhojajani Saindhava was born, I would be the king till Guru Samyak Sambodhu.